Welcome to the greatest story ever told, maybe. Buckle up, buttercups, because we're about to take a wild ride through American history. This isn't just any story, it's a tale that has shaped the world in ways you can't even imagine. It's a story full of triumph, tragedy, and enough plot twists to make your head spin. From the battles fought on the front lines to the silent struggles behind closed doors, every moment is packed with drama. We're talking about a nation built on revolution, innovation, and a whole lot of questionable decisions. Think of the inventions that changed the world, the revolutions that shook the foundations of society, and the decisions that left us scratching our heads. From the first European settlers to the rise of a global superpower, America's journey is anything but boring. Picture the vast landscapes, the bustling cities, and the quiet towns that have all played a part in this epic saga. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and try not to judge too harshly, though let's be honest, some things are pretty hard to excuse. As we delve into the past, remember that every story has its heroes and villains, and sometimes they're the same people. Just remember, history is written by the victors, so take everything you hear with a grain of salt and maybe a shot of whiskey. The tales we tell are often colored by the perspectives of those who came out on top. Ready to dive in? Let's do this. We're about to uncover the layers of history that have been buried over time, revealing the truths and myths that have shaped our understanding of the past. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, the beginning, the dawn of a new world, the clash of cultures and the birth of a nation. It's all here, waiting to be explored. Picture this. 1620, you're crammed onto a rickety wooden ship with 100 other people, all of whom seem to have forgotten what deodorant is. The food is terrible, the journey is months long, and you're pretty sure you saw a rat carrying a smaller rat down to its lair. That, my friends, was the Mayflower Experience. These weren't your average tourists looking for a good time. They were pilgrims, fleeing religious persecution and seeking a fresh start. Of course, fresh start's a relative term when you're landing on a continent already inhabited by millions of people, but hey, who needs Google Maps when you have manifest destiny, right? Speaking of the people already here, so the Europeans arrive, all bright-eyed and ready to claim their piece of the new world. But there's just one tiny problem. People already live here. Native Americans had been thriving on this land for centuries with diverse cultures, languages, and ways of life. But that didn't seem to matter much to the newcomers who were all about that land-grabbing, resource-hoarding life. What followed was a tragic tale of broken treaties, forced displacement, and cultural annihilation. It wasn't exactly a shining moment in human history, but hey, at least the settlers brought over some cool crops, right? As the colonies grew, they expanded rapidly, driven by the promise of new opportunities and the allure of untapped resources. Settlers poured in, eager to carve out a new life in this burgeoning land. With this growth came an insatiable need for labor. The vast tracts of land required cultivation, and the burgeoning industries needed hands to keep them running. And what better way to get cheap labor than to, well, not pay for it at all? The solution, though morally reprehensible, was clear to the colonists. Enter slavery. Millions of Africans were forcibly brought to America, torn from their homelands and families. This forced migration was a harrowing journey marked by unimaginable suffering and loss. Stripped of their freedom and dignity, these individuals were reduced to mere property in the eyes of their captors. Their humanity was systematically erased, and they were subjected to brutal conditions. Forced to work on plantations, they toiled from dawn till dusk under the watchful eyes of overseers. This brutal system fueled the growth of the nation, providing the economic backbone that allowed America to flourish. Enriching some while condemning others to a life of misery, slavery created a stark divide in society. It's a dark chapter in American history, one that is often glossed over, but remains crucial to understanding the nation's development. This legacy continues to cast a long shadow over the country. The repercussions of slavery are still felt today, influencing social, economic, and political landscapes. But it's essential to understand this legacy to fully grasp the complexities of this nation's past and present. The story of America is one of contradictions and struggles, of ideals and harsh realities. As we move on from this grim topic, let's just say things don't get much less complicated from here. The journey through America's history is a winding path, filled with both triumphs and tribulations, and understanding it requires a deep dive into its many layers. Section 5. Factories, fortune and tiny workers with big dreams. Fast forward to the 19th century, and America's going through a bit of a growth spurt, the Industrial Revolution. Cities are booming, factories are popping up like mushrooms after the rain, and everyone's chasing that American dream. Of course, everyone didn't exactly include everyone. Child labor was rampant, with kids as young as 5 working long hours in dangerous conditions. But hey, at least they were learning valuable life skills, right? Like how to develop a crippling fear of cotton gins before the age of 10. Section 6, going west. Manifest destiny and the gold rush. Remember that whole manifest destiny thing we talked about? It was the belief that Americans were destined by God to expand their dominion and spread democracy and capitalism across the entire North American continent. Well, it was back with a vengeance in the 19th century. The idea of manifest destiny fueled the westward expansion, driving thousands of settlers to pack up their lives and head into the unknown. Americans packed up their wagons and their prejudices and headed west, convinced it was their God-given right to claim the entire continent. They faced numerous hardships, from treacherous terrain to harsh weather, but their determination was unwavering. This westward expansion led to the displacement of even more Native Americans and a whole lot of questionable land deals. Treaties were often broken, and Native American tribes were forced off their ancestral lands, leading to a tragic and violent chapter in American history. But hey, at least they found gold, right? The discovery of gold in California in 1848 sparked one of the largest mass migrations in American history. The gold rush of 1849 drew thousands of fortune seekers to California, all hoping to strike it rich. People came from all over the world, including Europe, Asia, and South America, creating a melting pot of cultures in the mining camps. Most didn't, but it did pave the way for California to become the land of opportunity and overpriced avocado toast. The influx of people and wealth led to rapid development and the eventual statehood of California in 1850. Because what's a westward expansion without some, railroads? The construction of the Transcontinental Railroad connected the east and west coasts, making travel and trade much easier and further fueling the growth of the American West. Section 7. Building a nation one railroad tie at a time. Connecting the sprawling nation from coast to coast was no easy feat. It required backbreaking labor, dangerous conditions, and a whole lot of dynamite. Enter Chinese immigrants. These hard-working individuals faced discrimination, exploitation, and even violence. Yet they played a crucial role in building America's railroads. It's a story of resilience, determination, and the often overlooked contributions of immigrants to this nation's development. So the next time you hop on a train, take a moment to appreciate the sacrifices made to make your journey possible. Section 8, the Great Depression, when America briefly lost its smile. The Roaring Twenties were all fun and games until, well, they weren't. The stock market crashed in 1929, plunging the nation into the Great Depression. Unemployment soared, breadlines stretched for blocks, and people were dancing the jitterbug not for joy but to forget their troubles. It was a time of hardship, uncertainty, and a whole lot of soup kitchens. But hey, at least it brought us some great music and even greater fashion, right? Section 9. Postwar Boom, from rationing to riches, sort of. After the turmoil of World War II, America experienced an unprecedented economic boom. Factories that once churned out tanks and planes switched to producing consumer goods, and suddenly everyone needed a new car, a TV, and a house in the suburbs. This era saw the rise of consumerism, the baby boom, and a whole lot of questionable gender roles. But hey, at least people were happy, right? Or at least they looked happy in those perfectly posed family photos. But behind the shiny veneer of prosperity, cracks were beginning to show. But that's a story for another time. Section 10, America Today, a superpower built on a complicated past. And so here we are, America in the 21st century, a global superpower with a complex, often contradictory history. It's a nation built on innovation, hard work, and yes, a fair share of exploitation and injustice. From the first settlers to the tech giants of today, America's story is one of constant evolution, marked by both progress and struggle. It's a nation grappling with its past while striving to create a better future. It's a story that's still being written, and it's up to each generation to decide what kind of ending they want to create. Section 11, and the moral of the story is, well, that's the thing about history. It doesn't really have a neat little moral. It's messy, complicated, and often deeply uncomfortable, but it's also full of valuable lessons if we're willing to listen. So the next time you find yourself pondering the state of the world, remember we're all products of our past, for better or for worse, but it's up to us to learn from it, to do better, and maybe, just maybe, to create a future where we're not doomed to repeat the same mistakes again. And if that's not a happy ending, I don't know what is.